I need someone to clear those empty champagne glasses. The woman giving orders didn't bother to look at my face before she said it. I shifted the worn canvas duffel bag on my shoulder and kept walking across the marble foyer until another voice cut through the air. That one I knew. No, Genevieve Radcliffe stood directly in my path, dressed in an ivory designer suit that likely cost more than the housing allowance I hadn't touched in over a year. Her eyes swept from my polished army service dress uniform to my combat ribbons, then down to my boots. She smiled. It wasn't the look a mother saves for a daughter finally home from the front. It was the smile she wore at charity galas, when she had to pretend to enjoy the company of people she secretly despised. Around us, nearly 80 guests filled the entrance hall of our family's oceanfront estate. Crystal glasses clinked. A string quartet played somewhere beyond the grand staircase. A bartender announced another tray of vintage champagne. I recognized local developers, surgeons, and a state senator whose campaign signs still lined Highway 1. My deployment had officially ended 31 hours ago. This was the first doorway I'd walked through that wasn't protected by biometric scanners or blast-resistant steel, and yet it felt far less welcoming. Mother turned toward the guests with effortless grace. "Oh, don't mind her, everyone," she said with a soft, practiced laugh. "She's just the help we brought in from the base to handle security for the evening. Please go back to your drinks." The room rewarded her with comfortable, polite laughter, the worst kind. One woman handed me her empty flute. "Sweetheart, could you find someone to refill this?" I looked at the glass for a heartbeat before handing it back. "I'm afraid I don't work here." Before the woman could answer, Mother placed a gentle, proprietary hand on her arm. "Military people are always so modest." Another round of chuckles. I had spent 15 months coordinating cyber intelligence operations that protected infrastructure across 3 allied nations. I held a security clearance that kept most of my work in the shadows, but none of that mattered here. In this house, my uniform was just a catering outfit. I noticed Sasha gliding through the crowd in a silk cocktail dress, showing off her engagement ring like it deserved its own security detail. The diamond caught the light of every chandelier in the room. She saw me, but instead of saying hello, she just raised her glass. "I honestly didn't think she'd wear the uniform," she told 2 bridesmaids loud enough for me to hear. "Kind of dramatic, don't you think?" One of them whispered something back. Sasha grinned. "I guess if medals are all you've got," they laughed. I almost joined them, but not because it was funny. Somewhere overseas, soldiers I'd served beside would have bet serious money that the only thing capable of rattling Captain Mallory Radcliffe was incoming mortar fire. They clearly hadn't met my family. My father appeared from the library, steering 2 investors through a conversation about waterfront zoning permits worth $18.6 million. His eyes landed on me for one brief second. I thought he might walk over. Instead, he gave me the same polite nod he'd offer someone delivering office furniture. "Glad you could make it," he said, then immediately pivoted back to discussing commercial property values. That hurt more than I expected, not because he ignored my rank, but because he ignored that I was his daughter. I reached into my duffel bag, ensuring nothing had shifted during the flight. The small, locked black presentation case was still there. It held something entrusted to me before I boarded the military transport, something that wasn't jewelry, money, or mine to reveal. Not yet. If my family knew what was inside that case, they would have treated me very differently. Mother noticed my hand on the bag. "What's in there? Personal belongings. Leave it in the staff area. It's staying with me." Her smile vanished. "You've always been difficult." "No," I answered quietly. "I've always been consistent." For a heartbeat, neither of us moved. Then she recovered. "Well, consistency won't help you tonight," she clapped once. "Lydia," the catering manager hurried over. "Yes, Mrs. Radcliffe," Mother pointed directly at me. "Take her through the rear service entrance. We can't have delivery traffic blocking the foyer." Lydia blinked, confused. "I'm sorry, the help belongs in the back." Silence rippled through the immediate vicinity. A young waiter looked from my captain's bars to my nameplate, his expression shifting. Unlike everyone else, he recognized the uniform. He straightened his posture. He didn't salute, that would have caused a scene, but he offered a small, respectful nod. I returned it. Sometimes dignity survives in the places you least expect. Lydia leaned in, lowering her voice. "I don't think this is right." "It isn't," I said. "But it isn't your fight." She looked relieved and guilty at the same time. "I can carry your bag. I've carried heavier." That earned a faint, appreciative smile. As we crossed the foyer, the conversations resumed behind us. People always return to expensive champagne faster than they face uncomfortable truths. Halfway to the rear hallway, I heard an older man whisper to his wife, "Military families must have different customs." No, I thought, they don't, this one just does. The service corridor smelled of fresh bread and industrial soap instead of imported perfume. Strange, but it felt more honest back here. As we neared the kitchen, I glanced back. Mother was already telling another story, another version of reality, another performance. The black case rested against my side. By the time this wedding was over, every person in that ballroom would understand why I had been ordered to bring it home, and why the truth my family was so desperate to bury would become impossible to hide.